So today we're going to be talking about the Saitama group, easily one of the greatest teams ever to be in manga and or anime. And as we can see, this team consists of Saitama, King, Silverfang, and Genos. So I want to talk about them, of course, but I also want to talk about the bonus chapter that really brings light on this group and kind of gives them a name, I suppose. And that is one of the best chapters in all of One Punch Man, which is Numbers. Now, I've talked about this chapter in my other video about Child Emperor's power level reader mask thing. And there's a lot more that happens in it other than just the Okami mask. This chapter also introduces the Saitama group. So in this chapter, Fubuki, along with the Blizzard group, is still trying to draft Saitama. That's because this is released in volume 10, which happens, like around the time of season 2. So this, whole little storyline is still fresh in the reader's mind. So they get Saitama to come to some random location or something, and they're, trying to recruit him, but he's playing a video game under the desk. And this is one of the funniest panels of Saitama I've ever seen, the way this face looks here. But of course, he rejects them. And then Fubuki raises an interesting proposition to Saitama. She's like, hey, let's fight. And of course, this catches his attention because, Saitama is interested in fighting. And she says, your group against mine, and the loser has to do what the winner says. Bring your group here tomorrow, and I'll explain the rules then. And Saitama's like, I don't have a group. She's like, oh, then just come alone. I guess you aren't very popular. So Saitama actually does wind up showing up to, which turns out to be a rented meeting room, which like a conference hall, like a hotel that the Blizzard group rented out for 2 hours specifically for this event that they're gonna have. And yeah, you guessed it, Saitama shows up with King, Genos, and Silverfang, and the follow-up panel lists all of their ranks just to further show how incredibly deep and ridiculous this team is, and how Saitama is so nonchalant about it. It doesn't really matter to him because, he's Saitama, but he's rolling with 3 of the most powerful heroes in the world. And rightfully so, the Blizzard group is crapping their pants in reaction to seeing Saitama roll in with this group of gods. Then she has Saitama sign the contract, and as she said, the previous day, the loser has to do whatever the winner says. She put that in fine print and reminds Saitama that is the stipulation for the winner here. And he's like, oh, did it say that? Then they all move the stuff in the room away because it looks like they're about to straight up throw down in a fight. And this excites Bang. He's like, I'm going to teach them a lesson and I'm going to make them, join my dojo as grunts. We get another little funny instance of Psycho Bang here. But it turns out that they're not actually going to have a physical fight, but they're going to have a video game tournament, between the two teams. And Bang is the first one up. And yeah, as you expected, Bang gets completely destroyed. It actually says that Bang keeps hitting the taunt button, so his character just keeps taunting, and you can actually see it. It's he's slapping his butt, and he just gets destroyed. And it's also revealed that Fubuki has a former pro gamer, a part of her team, and this is the first time we're introduced to, and pretty much the only time. And that's Pico, who is B class rank 65. So then Genos steps up to go against Pico, presumably, and he mashes the buttons on the controller so hard that he winds up breaking it, and he loses as a result of that. They're pressing the buttons harder doesn't make the attack stronger. So then after that, Saitama steps up, and Saitama is so goofily confident about this game because he's like, I played this before. I ain't no amateur like Bang and Genos. I'll win this in just a jiffy. And then he just gets perfected by Pico. He just gets, destroyed. Actually, the worst, I suppose, of everyone so far. At least it's implied. So then, yeah, only King is left. And Fubuki is really confident at this point. But us, the readers, know that King is pretty much the one above all in video games. Now, at this time, maybe you would have been a little unsure if King could have beaten a former pro gamer. But it turns out that, yes, not only does King defeat Pico, off panel, we don't see it, But he defeats everyone that's in the Blizzard group here. Like, she says that she brought 30 members with her, and he defeats all of them, and I guess it's applied rather easily. And as per the stipulations of the match and the bet, I suppose, the loser has to do whatever the winner wants, and Saitama just says that Fubuki has to take them out to dinner, and then we get like a little nice comical ending sequence where she's like counting calories. But another little bonus to the Saitama group that we get in this chapter is them actually working together, and they're somewhat of a cohesive unit. It's just like, I really like that one kind of sprinkled this in here just to show that aside from them just being like a force, like, from like a face value, they also do work together, because we see that like Bang, he covers like the rescue and evacuation aspect of like the hero team, because he swipes in and saves Red Muffler from Spiderino, another speed feat from Bang that I always forget about. Then Geno steps in and he incineration blasts like the top part of Spiderino off, and then Saitama comes in and just one punches the spider body, and then gets covered in the webs comically. And King is King. He's just there to assure that they cannot lose. But aside from this awesome chapter, I just like the Saitama group existence and just it being acknowledged, because it really is like the MC's team of this series. Like every shonen series or whatever. I'm not saying One Punch Man is a shonen. It's like a pseudo shonen or whatever, but they all have like their group or their team or whatever. And this is Saitama's group. I mean, aside from like the moniker around it, it's like one way or another, Saitama does have like a team of friends, if you will. I mean, it's ambiguous how Saitama feels about all of these individuals deep down, but you can consider them his friends, like especially King and Geno somewhat, and even Silverfang. I mean, it goes deeper than this, of course. You could consider Bomb a part of the Saitama group, and even Fubuki somewhat as a part of this. I mean, we do see all of these characters congregating in his apartment from time to time. So it's like, yeah, this is Saitama's team, his friend group or his friend circle. I mean, he doesn't need it, of course, but it's just fun the way that he has it and the way that their dynamics all work, because also this team is mainly comprised of people that know the truth about Saitama. Like, they're all aware that he is the one above all, aside from like Fubuki, who's still kind of in delusion about it. But the rest of them, there is no delusion about it. And another interesting thing here is that Saitama is the only one who is aware that King is not actually the strongest man on Earth. And then also the whole thing about, King and Saitama being two sides of the same coin. And I'm going to make a whole video about that. But that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I just wanted to talk about this because I really do enjoy this aspect of the series. Let me know what you think about the Saitama group in the comments. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. Check that out. And I have a Twitch channel. Streams are lit. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. I'll see you next one.